In this video, we are going to talk about the last three atypical ribs, that is the 10th, 11th and 12th. The 10th rib is very easy to identify from the typical ribs by the fact that it bears all the features just like this typical rib. Okay, it bears all the features just like this typical rib, except the fact that the head, you can see the head, it bears two articular facets here. This head bears two articular facets separated by a ridge, but in case of the 10th rib, there is only one articular facet to articulate with the side of the 10th thoracic vertebra. Okay, so remaining features are the same as that of the typical ribs. The 12th and the 11th ribs, these two ribs, they have single articular facet at the head end. So here you can see this is the vertebral end of the head end and this is the anterior end. In the 11th and the 12th, the anterior end is embedded within the muscles of the abdominal wall and has specks of cartilage attached to it. That's why they are called floating ribs, as the anterior end is embedded within the wall of the abdomen, muscles of the wall of the abdomen. Now, the vertebral end presents a head which has a single articular facet. This feature is shared by the first rib, we have already discussed, and also the 10th rib. But what is unique in 11th and 12th rib is that there is no tubercle. There is no neck and no tubercle. So, much unlike this typical rib where you can see the tubercle and the neck, the 12th rib, you see it has no tubercle or neck. It is same for the 11th rib. Okay, and then how do you differentiate between the 11th and the 12th rib? The 12th rib also has no angulation. It has no angulation, and it has, you see very carefully that it has no costal groove at all. But the 11th rib has a faint costal groove here, and also it has a slight angulation. So this is the difference between the 11th and the 12th rib. Now let us discuss about the other features of the 12th rib. The 11th and the 12th rib, they are described having an upper border and a lower border, and a posterior surface and an anterior surface. So the surfaces are not described as external and internal, but they are described as anterior and posterior. Okay, this is the posterior surface of the shaft, this is the anterior surface of the shaft. Now the rib, the 11th and the 12th ribs are directed downwards, forwards and laterally. Okay, and the anterior surface is directed forwards with a slight upward inclination. So if I show you this way, you won't understand, but if I show you this way, that when I am viewing it from front, the vertebra is directed, the rib is directed downwards, forwards and laterally, and the anterior surface, you can understand, it is looking anteriorly with a slight upward inclination. Okay, and this helps in side determination of the bone. Now if you hold it in the opposite way, and direct the rib downwards, forwards and laterally, then the anterior surface will be directed downwards. For example, if I want to hold it as the rib of the right side, okay, if I want to hold it as the rib of the right side, and if I direct the rib downwards, forwards and laterally, then the anterior surface is looking downwards. So obviously this is not the rib of the right side but of the left side. Okay, now coming to the attachments, this is the anterior surface. The anterior surface at its lower part, in the medial half to 2/3, don't just concentrate on this area, it can extend much laterally. In the medial half to 2/3, in the lower part of the anterior surface, you have the attachment of the quadratus lumborum muscle, which is covered by the anterior layer of the thoracolumbar fascia, and in the lateral part, as a continuation of the quadratus lumborum, you have the attachment of the transversus abdominis. These two muscles are the muscles of the posterior abdominal wall. The upper part of this anterior surface is overlapped by the costodiaphragmatic recess, and here you have the attachment of the diaphragm in the upper part of the lateral part of the anterior surface. Above the attachment of the transversus abdominis, here you have the attachment of the diaphragm. Now in the posterior surface, medial to lateral, there is attachment of several muscles: the levator costae, the longissimus thoracis and the iliocostalis. These are not very important for you to remember, but the lateral muscles are more important. Here you have the serratus posterior inferior. From medial to lateral, the serratus posterior inferior. The serratus posterior superior muscle, you have seen its attachment in the second rib. Okay, you have seen its attachment in the second rib. Here the serratus posterior superior muscle. Now, and here you have the attachment of the serratus posterior inferior muscle. Now, here you have the attachment of latissimus dorsi. It is an extensive muscle, a part of which is attached here, and further anteriorly you have the attachment of external oblique muscle of the abdomen. So it is levator costae, longissimus thoracis, iliocostalis, serratus posterior inferior, latissimus dorsi and external oblique. Okay, these are the attachments of the posterior surface. To the upper border, you have the attachment of the external oblique muscle and the internal oblique muscle, which the internal oblique muscle slightly extends to the upper part of the anterior surface. Okay, so these are the attachments of the 12th rib. Okay.